Welcome to our house. This is the Screenplay Podcast. I'm your host, Evan Grenis, and with me, as always, is PGA Tour player Andrew Novak.
How's it going, everyone? Happy to be back. Talking another week of football. We're getting right to the end of the season. Conference championship week. It's getting exciting.
Where are you this week?
I'm in just outside San Diego. We're at the Torrey Pines tournament this week.
Oh, nice. Torrey's a good course.
Yeah, it's playing long.
You play both of them, North and South?
No, it rained so bad. Monday we couldn't even play the courses, and then today I played 9 on each. It's a Wednesday start. First round's tomorrow. So
Oh, all right.
yeah,
So 2 rounds on each, then cut, and then they go to which course?
it's the final 2 rounds are at South for,
Okay. All
but they
right.
do one of each first two.
Nice. Good luck. We're getting down to the nitty gritty here, like you said. 4 teams left, and I think that they're probably the four most deserving teams to be here, honestly. We'll get into all of it. We're
Yep.
getting into some draft stuff. Got some fun games we're playing today. So got a good episode for y'all. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at screenplay_podcast. New episodes drop every Wednesday, 8 a.m. on all streaming platforms. Um, Kansas City defeats the Bills 27-24. Kansas City's now 3-0 versus the Bills in the playoffs. Officially they're in their head. You know, you win 2 games against a team, like, all right, fine, you won two, but you win that third one, like you're their kryptonite at this point. Like you're in their head. Josh Allen cannot get through Mahomes. Doesn't matter if it's at Arrowhead, doesn't matter if it's up in Buffalo, just they cannot get it done.
Yeah, at least not in the playoffs for sure. They have their number, and I don't know what it is because the Chiefs look different in this game. I thought this was the best that offense had looked in months.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, in a good long while. Um, yeah, I don't know. It was in Buffalo. This seemed like, the time that Buffalo was, finally going to get it done. They were coming in hot, and they just absolutely could not get it done against this Mahomes Chiefs team.
I mean, they had a chance, like the field goal. They had a field goal at the end of the game to tie it. They missed. I don't think anyone's really blaming him for
No,
not tying the
because
game. It's
there's a
windy, it's
minute
cold. It's yeah.
there was like a minute and a half left, and the Chiefs still had
Mahomes
two
still had
timeouts.
Mahomes still had a
Like,
chance to go down the field. But I just think the Bills didn't follow the formula that they've been playing with the past 2 months or so. The 2 months or past 2 months, we've seen them run the ball a ton with Cook, play smart, physical football, and that's not what they did this week. They just said, "Here you go, Josh Allen, be Superman. Figure out a win." 39 pass attempts, like that's not really what I wanted to see out of the Bills this week. They had a weird fake punt call. I don't know. I just wanted to see them be themselves, play normal, play like they've been playing the past 2 months. Instead, they like changed the entire script and went back to their old ways. And um, yeah, got the similar result that they're used to against the Chiefs.
yeah, they struggled to throw the ball for sure in this game, but they did have an even split: 39 passes, 39 rushes. They ran the ball pretty effectively, like when they did run it, and they possessed the ball a bunch. They had almost double the plays that the Chiefs ran in this game. They really hogged the time of possession. It, it's kind of weird, like looking at this box score and trying to figure out how they ended up managing to lose this game.
I mean, if honestly, I think the Chiefs should have won this game by more than
Yeah,
they did. Um,
it's
if
the Chiefs were super super efficient when they had the ball. They
I
didn't have
mean,
they
the
didn't run
Chiefs
many
were the Chiefs were
plays.
just a better team this week. Like they
Yeah,
just out flat out were a better team. If it weren't for the fumble touchback, like this game would have
no,
been over way before the fourth quarter
yeah.
ended.
And
This was
momentum was hard swinging for the Chiefs at that point too. If they punched that touchdown in, I mean, it could have been a 17-point win for them or something.
yeah. So I mean, what it comes down to basically is that when the playoffs happen, Mahomes just turns on.
Mhm.
It's kind of like I think a lot of it like LeBron. Like he doesn't really care about what seed he is getting into the playoffs, but like once they're in the playoffs, he's going to turn it on and do his work. But listen to Mahomes's stats in the playoffs. He's 13-3. It's basically an entire season. He has an extra season added on to his career in the playoffs. He's 13-3, 66% completion percentage, touchdown to interception ratio 38-7, and a passer rating of 106. I mean, he has all-star stat line in the playoffs against the best teams. Like when it matters most, he plays his best
Hmm.
football.
Yeah, yeah, he's been unbelievable in the playoffs, like in his young career, and yeah, I saw that exact same stat line. And it was like somebody had taken, I think, the last like 10 years of MVP seasons, averaged them out, and that was essentially just what Mahomes has done, playing
Yeah.
only the best teams, usually in bad weather too, in the playoffs. So really, really impressive stuff.
Another stat line that popped up from this game, the Chiefs had a ton of big plays, 8 plays of 20 yards or more.
Mhm.
The Bills had zero. I mean, one team had 8 explosive plays and the other had none. There's just a lot of reasons why the Chiefs won this game, and again, like should have won by more. Um, I don't know. I really thought this was the time the Bills were going to win. Chiefs have handled them the past 2 times. This one was at home. Like, I really felt good about the Bills winning, and I just they don't have enough playmakers there. Like when Diggs is getting 21 yards, I think it was. I'm not even sure. Yeah, 21
Been-
yards, 3 catches. Like, there's
He's
just
been
not an.
so bad for like 3 months now. It makes no sense, and you can literally you can go look at his season stats and see the flip in like
I
week
don't
eight.
see him being here next year. I think it's mental. I don't think he's like. I think he's
It's
out.
so weird. I saw a thing, I think today on Twitter that was saying like he's not expected to ask for a trade out, which is kind of weird because that's what everybody kind of thinks is going to happen. So I don't know what's going on there.
All
It's been
right.
a very weird situation.
Um, if the Bills couldn't get it done this year, like I don't believe that like next year there is zero hope. Like this was a down year for the AFC. Like this was the year that the Chiefs probably weren't their best. It's the year that Burrow's out. Um, and then on top of that, Josh Allen's cap hit next year goes through the roof.
Yeah.
This was his last year where they're really not paying him much. His cap hit was 18.6 million. Next year it jumps to 47 million. And the year after that, 56 million. So they're going to lose some pieces. The Bengals are going to be back. The Chiefs are probably going to
The
be better next
Jets
year. The Jets are
uh,
going to be good.
in division, the Jets
Miami's
aren't going to
probably
be a
going to be a little
straight
better.
pushover.
Um, the Bills had to get it done this year, and I
Mhm.
just don't see anything like this or a good of a shot of it at next year.
Yeah, I don't think you're wrong. Um, we've talked about this kind of being the end of this run for the Bills. Now they have enough Josh Allen left where they can reload and try again down the road.
Correct.
But I
Yeah.
think I think you need like a 2 year reload to like reset the roster, rework it a bit, get
You
a
got to
new
get some
set of
younger
guys
players
in.
in there, some
Yeah,
young cheap guys when you're paying your quarterback 50 mil.
exactly.
Yeah. And then let's just talk about Andy Reid for 1 second. I mean, he's becoming one of the best coaches ever. 2-time Super
Mhm.
Bowl champ, 282, 160 and one. I mean, great record. And every year, him and Mahomes are just, yeah, Mahomes is great. He's a sick quarterback, but half of that is Andy Reid. Them two
Yeah,
together are special couple.
yeah. Obviously that pairing has really worked. The thing that I love about Andy Reid is, he had success elsewhere. He did really well with the Eagles. The
So you
Eagles
can't
had some
just
really
say,
fun
"Oh, it's just
teams. Like,
Mahomes," like a
yeah,
like a Belichick thing. Like Reid has showed that he can do this anywhere with multiple quarterbacks. So yeah.
yeah,
All right, let's get into the next game. Lions defeat the Bucs 31-23. The Lions were 100% the better team, better roster, better quarterback, better coaching, better in the trenches. However, the Bucs like they hung in there. At the end of the game, like they had a chance. Great season for the Bucs. They exceeded their expectations. Baker had a rebirth of his career. But the best team got through here. The best team won this game. The Lions are back in the NFC title game for the first time since 1971. What did you think out of this game?
I thought it was awesome. I was, obviously being a Panthers fan, rooting for, the Buccaneers to lose, but also the Lions story is awesome. Um, I thought the Lions kind of played their brand of football. It's been killing it this year, and everybody sort of stepped up, and it was just a really good, clean game from them. I think, maybe you're gonna have to see a little bit better play on secondary, especially against San Francisco.
For sure, for sure. Yeah.
But really, just a good, solid game. It was awesome watching the game. with volume on to like hear Ford Field just going nuts. Like those
Yeah, they
fans,
set the
like
record for well, at least Ford Field set their own record for
mhm,
decibels in the stadium this week.
yeah, I mean they just were willing that team. Like that is decades of just pent up like this
Frustration, yeah.
fan base just needs this win so badly. So that was super cool to see. I
Would you
thought.
say that the Rams Lions trade between Stafford and Goff was one of the most well uh even worked out for both the teams trades you've ever seen? I mean,
I mean,
tech
it's looking like that. Yeah.
generally in a trade, one team wins in the short run and one team wins in the long run. And that's kind of exactly what's happening. Like the Rams got exactly
Mhm.
what they needed. They got Stafford, got their Super Bowl, and then in the long run, it hurt them, giving away picks and stuff. But now in the long run, the Lions have turned these picks into something, real players, real roster, and now they're getting the better end of this trade.
Yeah, and golf has been unbelievable for them. So yeah, I would absolutely agree. Um, the Rams were definitely in a more win now situation at the time, and the Lions could afford to wait a little bit and you know let golf mature and come up with this next group of players that they brought in. And yeah, absolutely, I think both sides definitely have won that deal at this point. Um, with how the Lions had in the last 30, 40 years, even if it ends now. I think just the fact that the Lions got 2 home playoff wins, their fans are over the moon for that, for sure.
Yeah. As good as this football team is, though, like I think the front office is just as good. I want to go through some of these draft picks. Like the Lions have hit on draft picks, and they have built a team up to where they are from the ground the right way. Technically, I know it took a million years, but the last 3 years they have nailed the draft. In 2021, they got Penei Sewell and Amon Ra. In 2022, they got Aiden Hutchinson and Jamison Williams, and in 23, they got Jameer Gibbs and Sam Laporta. I mean, they're hitting on some picks.
Are we counting Jamison Williams as a hit?
He's an okay player. He's not a. I mean,
I mean, that I feel like he's like definitely not. I don't know, but yes, I do agree. I think they've done a great job. Like Brian Branch has been fantastic this year for them. Jameer Gibbs, a lot of people laughed at taking him early. He's been fantastic.
next
Um,
year I think he's gonna really pop off. They're gonna let him
yeah,
go. I think that yeah.
but yeah, no, I do think they've done a good job getting their guys in, and their guys play.
I mean, they have drafted more. They have drafted more offensive talent in the last 3 years than the Patriots have in the last 15.
That's probably fair. Yes.
It is. I think the last Pro Bowler that the Patriots have drafted, they've had two in the past 15 years. One was a kicker and one was Gronk.
Goodness me.
Yeah, it's pretty
David
bad.
Andrews was he in the league that long?
What's
They
that?
drafted him?
Who?
David Andrews?
I'm not sure.
He might have been before 15. Yeah, I don't even know.
I'd have
But
to look
yeah,
it up. But still,
good.
pretty good drafting there. But like you mentioned this earlier though, the Lions defense is concerning. 833 yards allowed the last two games to the Rams and the Bucs. That secondary can get absolutely eaten up, and with the 49ers next week, that's a bit scary.
Yeah, yeah.
They might catch a break if Debo doesn't play, but if Debo plays, there's the 49ers have a
Yeah,
ton of weapons that can get through that secondary.
yeah. Cam Sutton's been definitely getting cooked a little bit. And I'm sure that's a matchup that the Buccaneers are going to look to get after. But I mean, they still looked pretty solid in this game, even though they were giving up all those yards. The Buccaneers really weren't trying to run the ball much, so they were, really just going for you know, they threw the ball 41 times. They were looking to pass the ball, and
Yep.
um, they racked up a bunch of yards that way.
All right. Last thing here. Let's talk about Baker for a second. So this year he played on a 1 year, $4 million contract, with some incentives. They basically had Baker for free, in NFL terms. What about now? He just got you, a playoff win. This team looks pretty good. You got Mike Evans, who is going to be a free agent. What are you giving Baker? We talked about this last week, but what he sits down at the table across from you and he says, "I want a contract." What's your first offer to him?
Yeah, I think like 3-4 year deal sounds like super reasonable. See where he can take you. I mean, it's not, you're not locked in like long term if you do like a 3-year deal or something like that. And
I
something
think I
on,
think 3 year 120 is too much. I'm seeing just
I
under
would
that.
agree.
I think
Yeah,
it's
that's
like
too
3 year 110 or something like that, which would be in that mid 30 range. Like
much. I'd be like 3,105. But yeah,
okay.
like 35 a year. But like, but yeah, it's he played great football, and you're probably going to lose your OC. You're probably going to lose Mike Evans. Like you're going to find out a lot about him
You're still playing in a crappy
this upcoming
division though.
year.
This division
Yeah.
though, if you can get to 10 wins, you're in the playoffs. Like you don't have to be a great football team. You just have to be
Mhm.
good. So, yeah, if Baker can, if they can get a team friendly deal and just kind of eat up on this division for the next few years, like might be able to do that.
Yeah, I agree.
49ers defeat the Packers 24-21. The Packers are way ahead of schedule, about a year ahead probably. If you're a Green Bay fan, you have to be pleased with like how this loss went. You have to be thrilled with where they're at this
Mhm.
season and the future of the team. A very young core with an offensive coach, and honestly, they probably should have beat the 49ers this week. Brock Purdy led a game-winning drive at the end to get the victory, but this game, it really could have gone either way. Purdy didn't look like an all-star quarterback. He looks like the pressure might be able to get to him a little bit. Either way, like Purdy had that game-winning drive, but I mean, the Packers could have, gone back there at the end. Purdy could have not had that game-winning. This really could have gone either way.
Yeah, it was so weird. Like that last drive of the Packers where they could have gone down and won the game. Like Love started the drive with like three pretty good throws.
Yep.
One was not caught on the sideline, but like it was kind of a tight window to the sideline. He like fit it in there, and it hit Dobbs in the hands. He just didn't catch it. But like three straight like good throws, kind of in rhythm, like looking good, and then just he's gonna want that last one back where he
It's dude,
back
that
throw.
last one pissed. That's such a rook. That's such a first year player.
Yeah,
Like, it's not like all right. If there's 10 seconds left and you have no timeouts and you got to get down the field, fine, chuck it up. But like, you chucked it up off balance across the field into three defenders. There's a minute left in the game. You have two timeouts, and it's not
it's
like
literally it's the same. Like it's the Cole fumble out of the end zone. Like why are you reaching for the goal line on first and goal? You have time. You have like live to play another down.
I
Like
mean, we'll give
same
credit
thing
to
here. Like you
Greenlaw.
get punished
Greenlaw
for.
had two interceptions in the game,
Mhm.
star of the game, but still, like Jordan Love was playing solid, okay, good
Yeah.
football.
Yep.
But that interception at the end, there was no reason
Yeah.
to.
He's gonna want that one back for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. But that's something for him to learn from. Like we said, they're ahead of schedule. So like as you said, like Packers fans got to be so happy. Like this team is where it is.
Yep.
It's this quickly, basically.
Okay. So you know how every year the Cowboys are the best team in the NFL, and then every year they lose in the first round?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm getting a similar feeling with the 49ers. Don't we see this every year with the 49ers? How they're the best roster in football. They get into the playoffs and then they're gonna get into the NFC or the Super Bowl, and their quarterback's just not gonna be good enough.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like
I
we've seen
I
this.
don't
We've
think
seen
that.
this before with Garoppolo, kind of like sick
I think
roster,
that's a
great
fair.
team, and it
I think
just
that's a fair
doesn't.
concern.
I mean, let's be honest here. Like, uh, look at the quarterbacks left. We have four quarterbacks left.
Hmm.
Purdy is unquestionably the fourth best quarterback left.
Yeah,
We have
I
Mahomes,
agree.
Lamar, Goff, who's the number one pick, by the way,
Hmm.
and Purdy. How often does the fourth best quarterback go out and finish the job and get it done and win the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I mean, I think with how like Mahomes and Lamar have been playing, like I think the winner of that AFC championship is probably your Super Bowl champion at this
Yep.
point. But Um, yeah, no, he's definitely the fourth, and especially with how Goff has looked so far in these playoffs, like Purdy has definitely looked like the fourth best quarterback. It's not he's not outplaying those guys either so far in the playoffs. So
I mean, Super Bowl quarterbacks are not your average quarterback. Like when we look through Nick Foles in 2017, okay, back whatever, like outlier. But if we look back at the Super Bowl champions over the past like 10 years, Mahomes, Stafford, Brady, Mahomes, Brady, Foles, Brady, Manning, Brady, Wilson, Manning, like those are names. Like you don't just throw out, oh, and the last guy in the draft won a Super Bowl. Like
yeah.
it's very rare that that happens. Like you said, I think the winner of that AFC game is I think that is the Super Bowl, basically.
hmm Yeah, that's I was kind of talking with my guy about it today, and yeah, just the way the AFC's been playing, way they're playing, both those teams are playing. Um, they definitely got to be the favorite. I'm just like, I'm just concerned that you know, Purdy, if he turns it over a couple times and gets in one of these positions where he's behind, like starts forcing things, it's just not going to work against these teams anymore. Like I know the Lions secondary's been picked on, but
Now that's the
even
one thing.
still,
I
like
do think that Purdy's going to be able to handle the Lions defense just fine. I'm worried. I don't think he has any chance handling experienced Chiefs team that or Baltimore defense.
yeah, that defense for the Ravens is too strong, and then the Chiefs, like I mean, the defense has been pretty solid, but if you give Mahomes an extra possession or two, like you're done,
Hmm. Yeah.
you're cooked. So
So Debo's 50-50 to go this week. How
mhm.
concerning is that if he does not play?
It's obviously concerning.
Do you think he's worth
We
points? Like if Debo's
talked
out,
about
do you think San Francisco, do you think that's worth like 3 points to San Francisco or no?
yes, because of how much he opens up. We talked about a ton this year with the Dolphins offense where, if you lose either Tyreek or Waddle, it's the other one has way less room. Like stuff stops opening up for them. It's not quite the same with the 49ers, but it is kind of similar where like you lose an aspect of what you can do. The nice thing for the 49ers, the nice thing for Brock Purdy is there's so many different ways to attack on offense because you have a good offensive line and you have a great running game, and then you can play off of that with play action. You can play the short game with Debo, screens, stuff like that. Ayuk over the top, Kittle over the middle. Like you have so many different ways to hit them, and if you start losing guys, that starts taking away aspects that the other team has to cover.
Yep.
So Debo being out, they don't have anybody that can replace what he can do. I mean, it's like, yeah, you could throw a screen to like Ray McLeod, but like that's not Debo. Like so I don't know, like if I could put a number, like 3 points, 4 points, but I think just the general efficiency and comfortability of being able to run the offense severely drops off without having all of their guys.
Yep. Last game on the slate, Baltimore defeat the Texans 34-10. Baltimore blows the doors off the Texans. The Texans are about 2 years ahead of schedule, I would say, on their timeline with their coach and their players and their quarterback. CJ Stroud is unreal. He's the rookie of the year. But Lamar, Harbaugh, the Ravens, they're just a veteran team with experience, skill, too good for the Texans. The Texans' time on this season kind of just like ran out. I mean, the Ravens' defense is so good. For the Texans to win this game would have been an absolute long shot. The Texans didn't score an offensive touchdown this game. They had 10 points, but that's a field goal and a punt return for a touchdown. So I mean, they struggled. CJ Stroud struggled. He had no touchdowns, 175 yards. The Baltimore defense is just too good, and uh, really wasn't much of a game after in the second half.
Yeah, the Ravens defense was just straight up smothering too because they didn't have a single sack or force a turnover, and it just did like the Texans still just couldn't do anything. Like they didn't have any like luck plays or big spot. Like it literally just every play the Texans were just unable to do what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, this Ravens defense is seriously playing some good football.
Lamar
I thought the
might
big
Lamar might be the king of efficiency. Like when you look at his numbers, you're not like, oh, it's nothing crazy. And then when you like dive into it and watch the game, it's just so effective. Like 16 for 22, 152 yards. You're like, oh, I didn't really throw it that much. But like there's 2 touchdowns, no picks. So I mean, and completed a great percentage of passes. And then also you throw in 100 yards of rushing for 2 touchdowns. Like it's
Mhm.
insane. He's the biggest X factor in any game. I mean, he's the first player to have 2 pass touchdowns, 2 rush touchdowns, and 100+ passer rating in any game.
Yeah,
It's insane what he's doing.
yeah. I mean, they just absolutely they just leaned on him. Like the run game, everything, like everything they did worked. They had over 37 minutes possession. The only time that Houston even scored a touchdown was a punt return. Like it just dominated this game. Um, and they just flat out look like the best team right now.
Yeah, Baltimore is, I mean, they're dominating everyone. They have 7 wins this year versus playoff teams. And 6 of those wins are by double digits. So they're not just scraping by these good teams, they're blowing them out. Do you think Baltimore can be stopped?
I think they can. I'm not sure if they will, but I do think if you can sort of force them to be a bit more one dimensional, like in this game, 42 runs, 22 passes. If you can force them to have to throw the ball more than they run it, you'd have to get up early on them. But I think it can be done. Um, I don't. I've yet to like kind of see a team really give this defense issues. That's kind of part of the problem. Like I don't know where a team's gonna like really jump on them and start giving this defense fits.
Um, like you said, can they be stopped? Yes. Will they be? No. They'll have 4 losses this year. 3 of those losses are in division. Yeah, in division. 2 to the Steelers and 1 to the Browns. So the teams in division see them every year, play him every year. Like they understand, can contain him. Those are tough games. Like those teams can beat him. And then the other one being the Colts. But yeah, other than the teams in his division, basically, you cannot beat him. Um, so yeah, like it's I, none of the teams they're playing coming up are in their division, so
Yep.
it's going to be tough to beat him.
Yeah.
All right, those were the games. Let's get into a couple other NFL news topics here. So, Dak Prescott, his 2023 contract this year, his cap hit was 27 million. Next year, it goes to 60 million. If they couldn't get it done this year, it's the same thing with Josh Allen. Like, what makes anyone think that they're going to do it next year with a $60 million cap hit on Dak?
Yeah. The Cowboys are in a weird spot. Like I don't see how they get like better for next year, which like I guess obviously they need to get better because they couldn't even win a playoff game. Um, they do get like Trayvon Diggs back, obviously, because he was hurt all year, but they're probably going to lose Dan Quinn. So, like, I don't know. They're not really going to have the flexibility to do anything to get better. Like, I guess they just have to hit like on some draft picks and hope some rookies kind of really come through for them. Like,
The
I,
way I see it, it is impossible, 0% chance for the Cowboys to win next year with Dak under that contract. I just, I'm looking at the numbers. I don't see it being possible. I was looking some stuff up today. So the median cap hit for a quarterback that wins the Super Bowl since 2011 is 10%, 10% of your cap, which is 22 mil. That's the median. Um, the highest cap hit to ever win a Super Bowl was Mahomes last year at 17%. Okay. 17%. Mahomes won it last year. It's the highest to ever do it. No one before that came close. The 4 quarterbacks remaining in the NFL right now are Mahomes, Lamar, Goff, and Purdy. Mahomes cap hit 18%, Lamar 14, Goff 14, and Purdy is 0.5%.
mhm.
Dak's $60 million cap hit next year is a 27% cap hit. Mahomes is the only one to win a Super Bowl at 17. Generally, you need a quarterback around 10%. The numbers and the history have shown that it is impossible to win a Super Bowl with a cap hit that big. People don't say it, but the reason Brady won so many Super Bowls was because his wife was loaded. The most money Brady ever got paid was $25 million a year. That was the most he ever made out of any year ever. Like it's just not possible to win a Super Bowl when you're getting paid $60 million. It's on like you just can't
That's absurd.
unless you're
That's
doing crazy
those stats are crazy there.
unless you're doing Mahomes like qualities,
Yeah,
you cannot have a quarterback be paid that and expect to do anything.
yeah. I mean, we've even seen it a little bit with Mahomes this year, like with a struggling wide receiver core since they've been a little bit strapped for cash, and it's been rough. And we know Dak is definitely not Mahomes, so um, yeah, they are definitely in a dire situation. Then, like I don't know, like there's not really anything you can do if you're the Cowboy. Like you're just gonna have to kind of sit and take
I think,
it.
like you said,
However, it goes.
you better hit some draft picks and you better hit them big.
Yeah.
All right, next topic. On average, 7 teams that make the NFL playoffs will miss them the next year. That means 7 new teams will get in. This year we did not expect the Texans to make it to the divisional round of the playoffs. So, which team that missed the playoffs this year will make a solid playoff run next year?
So I have 3 teams highlighted. I think the obvious one is maybe the Jets.
Oh,
Um,
it's not who.
be, I just because getting Aaron Rodgers back, they actually do have some decent pieces.
Okay.
Um, although I'm not as big, I think, on maybe the Jets being able to do it next year or some, but I
I
think that
was
was
thinking
kind of
that
the
the
obvious name
obvious
that I
one would
saw.
be the Bengals.
Okay, yeah, that's fair enough. I have 2 that I have circled that are picking in the top 10 of the draft this year, though. Uh,
Okay,
that
let's
I
hear it.
like to potentially be playoff teams next year. That is the Chargers with a
Okay.
new head coach and hopefully some help defensively as far as schematically. I don't know. Just they have too many good players on defense. Somebody fix that. And then also the Atlanta Falcons.
Yep.
Pretty bad this year, but Arthur Smith is like probably one of the worst coaches I've ever seen. And they had no quarterback. I think they're going to be a great spot to land a good coach and be a reasonably attractive free agent landing spot, especially considering how weak that division is.
Weak
I could easily
division.
see it.
They could pull
I
a
could.
Texans. They could absolutely
I
pull
think.
a Texans and win a game in the yeah.
I think they have pretty solid offensive line, defensive line. Like they have good weapons on offense. I could see that being a team that goes out, wins 10, 11 games next year, wins that
So
division.
I think the Bucs are going out next year and winning 8 or 9 games again.
Yeah,
But yeah, if Atlanta can get to like that 10 win number, 9 win,
I
ten
think that's
win.
very,
Yep,
very possible.
I agree with you. All right. So let's just make some picks here. We have 4 teams left. We got Baltimore, Kansas City, and 49ers, Lions. Who do you think wins this Kansas City Baltimore game? What's your thoughts on this game?
So I think the obvious thing is like Baltimore's best team right now. Like they're playing better than anyone. They're beating up on everyone. So I'm going to take the Chiefs and Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. And I don't know. It seems too obvious. Baltimore's been playing too good, and I think Casey hits him in the mouth. And I'm just not going to bet against Mahomes in the playoffs.
Yeah. Mahomes has Mahomes is 13-1 in the playoffs when he's not playing Tom Brady.
That's
He's
absurd.
he's 0-2 against Tom Brady. So Tom Brady's his kryptonite, but Tom Brady's done playing football. So Patrick Mahomes is 13-1 against everybody else. And that one game that he lost was in overtime. So his playoff stats are unbelievable. Both these teams have strong defenses. I think it's going to be a low scoring game.
Mhm.
Andrews is likely back. I think it's going to come down to a field goal. Whoever like misses a field goal loses the game. I like Baltimore. I think Baltimore is going to win. I think it's just their time. But yeah, I'd toss up here really for me. 49ers and Lions. What are your thoughts there?
I've kind of gone back and forth on this one. Um, I am going to go with the 49ers, although if Debo is out, this is like serious concern for the 49ers because I do think the Lions are playing good football. Um, bottom line, though, I think the 49ers are going to be able to throw the ball. And with their run game, I think they're also just going to be able to run it as well. I think they're going to be able to possess the ball. And as long as Purdy doesn't turn it, Purdy can turn it over once, and I think they still win this game. If he turns it over 2 times or more, I think they probably are headed for a loss here. But I think he keeps it clean enough. I do think the 49ers win this game, but I do have that being a pretty close game.
Okay, I have 49ers winning. I do not think this is going to be a close game. The Lions defense has just let up too many yards, and I think that the 49ers have too many weapons for that. The Lions as well, like they're a great team, but they've been a little inconsistent throughout the season. I think that maybe because of Dan Campbell's like aggressive play calling and style. Um, Yeah, I just think that the 49ers really handle the Lions here. And, if they get to the Final Four and people say, congratulations, Lions, you've had a great season, but I mean, you're not getting through here. I think Purdy can handle this game just fine. I worry about him in the Super Bowl, but I think, like, the 49ers wake up and just drop 35 points, like, without
Mhm.
trying. Especially against the Lions defense. Like, I just don't see them not putting up something at least in the 30s. All right. We got a game here. We're going top 5 quarterbacks of all time. Your list. With Mahomes making his charge up the all-time great list of quarterbacking. I mean, he's on fire his first 6 seasons
Mhm.
in the league. Let's name our top 5 quarterbacks of all time. Start with 5. Who do you got?
Am I going 5 through 1 or we
But
just
yeah, run it down 5 through 1.
all right? Number 5, I have Dan Marino. No Super Bowl, so that kind of gives him a bit of a knock, but did have an MVP. Just what he was able to do in that era. He was the first to 5,000 yards in a season. He had that 48 touchdown season that held for like 20 something years. Just way ahead of his time. Like crazy talent, freakish arm. So Dan Marino. Number 4, I've got Patrick Mahomes. Obviously, he has very good potential of landing much higher on this list when it's all said and done. But 2 Super Bowls so far, 2 MVPs, just unbelievable stuff. Like he really is special, and he's not done yet. Number 3, I have Peyton Manning. 2 Super Bowls, 5 MVPs. Um, Peyton Manning, what he did for the position as far as like mentally how you go about playing the chess match. I feel like he really revolutionized that. Unbelievable player, won in 2 different places. Yeah, great. Number 2, Joe Montana, 4 Super Bowls, 2 MVPs, 4-0 in the Super Bowl. Led some great teams, great San Francisco teams to some championships. From that era, he was the guy. He was kind of that generation's like goat, and yeah, he's number 2. And then number 1 is Tom Brady. 7 Super Bowls, 3 MVPs, greatest of all time. I really don't think that one's debatable right now. Like Brady is number 1.
Yep. I was gonna go through my top 5, but I have the exact same. I'll show the camera. Like, we did not go over this like prior. Like, we knew we were
Like
gonna
we had
ask
the
this
same
question. The same exact thing.
5 through 1.
5 through 1, same exact thing. I wanted to put Patrick Mahomes higher up,
I
closer to Tom Brady, but I
I
believe
would
Patrick Mahomes is already number 4, and by the end of his career will probably be number 2.
that's exactly what I think Mahomes has the ability to get to 2. I think getting to 1 would be like he'd have to
So I
kind
did
of
the
go
numbers
crazy.
out. So Brady played 23 seasons. He had 10 Super Bowls and 7 wins. Mahomes has played 6 seasons. He has 3 Super Bowls, 2 wins. If we just take Mahomes' career, times it by
Yeah.
3, which is like on the path that he's on. He's on track to play in 9 Super Bowls and win 6 of them in 18 seasons. I don't think Mahomes can get to 23 seasons based
Yeah.
on his style of play.
That would require that level of longevity just to like
Just right.
be in the
So
realm of
will he
Brady.
will he reach
Brady.
7 Super Bowls wins? It's
Yeah.
very, very unlikely. But it is likely that I think Mahomes reaches, 5 or 6 Super Bowl wins. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's yeah, I think Mahomes could straight up win one now, this year. And
Right.
I think I debated with him and Manning, but I went Manning at 3. I mean, he did so much for the game and for the quarterback position, but obviously with Mahomes still being out there, there's plenty of time to change that. So
Right. All right. I've been looking forward to this game for a while. Really excited to do it. We are going to do the NFL draft. We're going to do picks 1 through 10. Andrew is going to take the odd picks, and I'm going to take the even picks. So here we are, 2024 NFL draft with the first pick, the Chicago Bears. Who do you take?
They select Caleb Williams, quarterback at USC.
All right. With the second pick in the draft, the Washington Commanders select Drake May, quarterback, North Carolina.
All right, third pick, New England Patriots are taking your Heisman Trophy winner, Jaden Daniels, quarterback out of LSU. Three quarterbacks straight off the board.
I will be very happy with that. Got my Patriots hat. I'd buy Jaden Daniel jersey that night if that happened. All right. With the number 4 pick in the draft, the Arizona Cardinals select Marvin Harrison Jr., wide receiver, Ohio State.
I don't think too many surprises in those first four.
Nope.
This fifth pick is kind of the first one I debated a little bit, but I think personal opinion, I am a Rome Odunze fan. I think the Chargers need to go wide receiver, probably him or Neighbors, but I'm taking Odunze out of Washington.
Interesting. All right. With the 6th pick in the draft, the Giants select Joe Alt, offensive tackle out of Notre Dame. I just think their O-line is beaten up and they got to get someone.
Perfect. Well, you made the Tennessee Titans very happy because Malik Neighbors out of LSU just fell down to them. I think they need help at the wide receiver position, and they take Neighbors.
With the 8th pick in the draft, the Atlanta Falcons take Michael Penix Jr., quarterback. Think he'll be a
Wow.
good indoor dome quarterback.
Big, big pick there. All right. And with the ninth pick, I think you got to get Caleb a little bit of offensive line help. Top three wide receivers are already gone. I'm taking J.C. Latham, offensive tackle out of Alabama for the Chicago Bears.
Interesting. The Jets are very happy with that because we will now take Olamaya Fashu, offensive tackle out of Penn State to protect Aaron Rodgers so he doesn't get hurt on the first play of the game.
That would be good.
All right, that was our NFL draft. I like that. We might do some more of that stuff as the season approaches next year. Let's get into the gambling. We have 2 games on Sunday, obviously. We got Kansas City at Baltimore. The line is Baltimore favored by 3.5. The over-under is 44.5. We then have Lions at 49ers. 49ers are favored by 7, and the line is 51. Last week, me and Andrew had the same exact picks. We both went 1-3. Not our greatest week, but we've been crazy hot. Last week just was not it. So this week we'll be betting both games on the line and the over under. So that's 4 bets each. Andrew, what do you got this week?
So obviously, talked about I have the Chiefs winning. So
Yeah.
Chiefs plus 3.5. It's scary, but yeah, I just Mahomes in the playoffs getting points. Like I'll take him.
Yep.
So Chiefs 3.5, and then do you want me to do over under for that one?
Yep.
All right, I do have the over in that game, 44.5. I don't think it goes over by much, but I do think it goes a little over that.
Okay. I will take Kansas City plus 3.5 as well. I don't know if they win this game. I can see Baltimore winning, but either way, I think this is a 3-point game. Either way, and then I'm going under 44.5. I just see this being a 3-point game. First team to 24 points, or 21 points wins. So I'm gonna take the under. What do you got on the next game?
And then I have Detroit plus 7. I think they keep it close enough. San Francisco's a scary team, but Detroit's been playing, pretty good football. So I will take them to cover that, and then I will go with the under 51. If it gets over 51, I find it hard to believe that Detroit probably covered that because if San Francisco's going to be putting up a bunch of points, I'm not sure if Detroit's going to be keeping up with that San Francisco defense. So going under there.
All right. I'm taking Lions plus 7 as well. I think the 49ers do win this game, close to that 7 number, but I think the Lions cover, and I'm going over 51. I think it's going to be a shootout. I can see 35-31 49ers. I do think Goff is playing well and they're going to be able to do something. So those are our picks. Lock them in. If you believe the Ravens are going to win the Super Bowl, now is the time to bet them. They're plus somewhere between plus 75 plus 175, plus 200, which is actually pretty good odds, considering that we think the winner of the AFC Championship game is going to win it all. So yeah, now's the time to bet your Super Bowl team if you're going to do it. But those are our picks. Lock them in, and we'll be back next week to discuss the two championship games and the Super Bowl. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok at screenplay_podcast. New episodes drop every Wednesday. Good luck to Andrew out at Tory this week.
Appreciate it.
Any
Thank
last
you.
words?
Yeah, thanks for listening. Enjoy the games this weekend. Go Lions. And yeah, that's it.
All right, appreciate it. Yeah, enjoy the football, and we will see you all next week.